There's so many people who are 100% convinced that this is the case and that she's leaving. And I'm like,
It is absolute
there's also a lot of counter arguments as to why she wouldn't be leaving.
Boy.
Uh-oh. Brie Larson's in the title of a YouTube video. Who's in the comments on this one? Right? It's the way this always goes.
All the nuanced discussions are taking place. I can feel it.
Already. Look, guys, this might surprise you. This might surprise everyone on the internet. We don't hate Brie Larson.
Oh, I was sure you did.
I don't. I mean, I'm sexist, but I don't hate Brie Larson. That's the odd
fair.
part about her, right? Look, here's my honest opinion. Getting this stuff out of the way. I think Brie Larson is a great actress. I do not hate the individual, the human being, Brie Larson. I don't really care for her Captain Marvel portrayal at the same time.
Fair.
I am not that endeared to it. I like the movie. I do. Overall, I do. I'm not drawn to her portrayal. All right, I'll keep it at that. But does that mean I'm infuriated by her? No. We're going to talk about a few things. Ever since that Marvel trailer came out and they declared it that it's not going to be called Captain Marvel 2, but called Marvels. Maybe it's just because Greg and John with their Real Rejects algorithm feed, all these videos and articles keep popping up in our feed about how Brie Larson reportedly leaving Captain Marvel now. Marvel wants her gone. All that kind of jazz, right? And I feel like I've been hearing that for the longest time, but especially lately, I've been hearing that almost nonstop. So I kind of wanted to talk about it, and I wanted to kind of look at both sides here, all right? So first off, here's the main report that's been going around. Marvel reportedly wants Brie Larson out, and they're going to replace her with two characters, reportedly being Monica Rambeau and Kamala Harris. Nope. Whoop. That would be like the third time I've done that in my life. Kamala Khan.
Yes.
It's so natural just to go there.
Well, you hear Kamala Harris's name a lot.
I only know of two Kamalas, and those are the only two, all right? Yeah, and Kamala Khan. It had me thinking, like, but what does that mean that they'd be replacing Captain Marvel with that? What does that mean exactly? Like, to draw a comparison here, let's look at Falcon and Winter Soldier with replacing Captain America. There's so much of an identity, emotional association, this iconography towards who Captain America is, what it means to be Captain America, the symbolism to take up the mantle. There's so much associated with the ideologies of who Captain America is that to do a whole thing of taking up the mantle of Captain America, there's a lot to explore there. You say that with Captain Marvel, I'm like, what the hell is that? What is that? Like,
What is the mantle?
what is the mantle of Captain Marvel? Like, I don't know what that is.
At least in the MCU.
Yeah, maybe in the comics there's something there, but in the MCU, I personally am like, I couldn't tell you what that means. Being a superhero, that's about as far as it goes.
She just got here.
Yeah, right. That's about as far as it goes. So we don't really know what it is. Or does that mean when people are saying that they're going to replace it, that means they're not going to do Captain Marvel anymore? They're just going to do, the Marvels, and it's just going to be Monica Rambeau and Kamala Khan. It's just going to be them. So no more Captain Marvel, just Marvels, them. One of them is going to become Captain Marvel. Like, there's a bunch of questions just sort of sprung up from, like, what does this all really entail? And then you got to go back to, is Brie Larson really leaving? Is that what's really happening? Because if my memory serves me correct, there was a time where there was all these reports coming out that Brie Larson was pushing to have more inclusivity and also to have an ensemble all-female cast. So when I heard Marvels, I'm like, well, this is what Brie Larson was
like
saying
she got her wish.
wanted. I thought that's what they wanted. She wanted it to do, right? That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's the fascinating thing about this is, it's impossible, I think, to ignore the backlash against Brie Larson. And hey, Marvel has to be aware of that too. So it's like, on the one hand,
I don't think they are.
they don't pay attention to any
They
of
are
this.
so blind. One day, Kevin Feige's going to type Brie Larson in on YouTube and be like, what is this?
Oh, wow, I had no idea. Get the casting people on the phone. I think that they're smart enough to be aware. And the thing is that with Brie Larson, yeah, she only has done the one movie so far and the one appearance in Avengers Endgame. And so there is a lot to develop there. And like you said, with Steve Rogers' Captain America, there's already such an iconography in history that even like the lay person who's not a comics reader knows a little bit about. And then on top of that, you've got Chris Evans for over several movies and phases of the MCU for people to get endeared to. So it's like I understand how the narrative pops off of people going, well, Marvel, they must hate her if they're going to pivot at all with this franchise because the first one wasn't perfect. It is important to note that this seems like exactly what Brie Larson wanted, and it also is a tentative move, it would seem like to me, because they dropped this, log line or this plot description recently that basically says, the Marvels, Captain Marvel 2, it's going to be about Carol Danvers. She's going up against a big thing. She needs some help. Who's she get it from? These two. That's the log line.
Yeah.
So it's just pretty much a confirmation that we'll have these three in an ensemble capacity.
And also with the Miss Marvel character, not that I'm an expert by any stretch. I haven't read a comic of Miss Marvel, but I do know that Miss Marvel has strong associations, her origin to Captain Marvel directly. So it just makes sense that she would be in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, the other thing too is that, people rest almost all of their ire toward anything to do with that first Captain Marvel movie on the shoulders of Brie Larson squarely. But I think if you look at a lot of the reviews, you'll find that a lot of people, and we even shared this opinion to varying degrees, say that with Carol Danvers in that movie, part of the lack is in the scripting and the amount of scenes they give her to develop and endear us to her as a character. Most of that work is given to supporting characters.
Yeah, with that in mind, let's transition to playing a little bit of devil's advocate here. Ooh. Because here's the other side. I could also see how some of these reports are true because if you go on, look, out of any superhero lead in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, undoubtedly, Brie Larson is the most controversial one. She is. I think that's an objective.
That's a fact.
Statement. That is not some opinion I have. I think the endearment towards Captain Marvel or Carol Danvers, the character, isn't as strong as one might hope. I mean, I know some people really love her. I think generally speaking, it's just not as strong. But you got like sites like Giant Freaking Robot.
We got this covered.
Cosmic Book.
Yeah.
All these things just keep popping up.
All your favorite channels.
But even like scoopers that are reliable, like apparently Daniel RPK had said something about this also being the case that Brie Larson wants to move on from here. I could see Brie Larson wanting to move on because of the fact of how maybe she doesn't feel accepted by the Marvel community. And then, got Grace Randolph also chiming in saying that Marvel wasn't happy, and they did replace the filmmakers ultimately going forward with the sequel. So there's a lot of variables where I could also see like, oh yeah, it's probably, maybe it is true that they want her to. I just think it's kind of silly. There's so many people who are 100% convinced that this is the case and that she's leaving. And I'm like, there's also a lot of counter arguments as to why she wouldn't be leaving.
Boy,
now.
It's that 1% chance, man. You got to act on that 1% chance.
Yeah. Right now, I don't believe it. I don't. However, I could also see it being the other case. I'm just saying, I could see both sides here.
Yeah.
But if you want me to take a stance, right now, I don't believe it.
No, I don't either. I feel like they're certainly in a position where they're going to play a bit more by ear and see if they can really get her to the people in the right way before making a decision.
And they got a new director in here. They got new people working on this. It's going to be a very different movie than the first Captain Marvel, I feel. And Brie Larson has demonstrated with previous roles that she's a very talented, she's an Oscar-winning actress. She can act. Yeah. So maybe in this one, she can, deliver something that we didn't get from the first one.
That plays on those chops.
I'm always down for improvement. Even Finn Jones got a little better for Iron Fist Season 2.
Danny Rand.
All right, guys. Well, do you believe this? What's your take on it? Do you even really give a shit? Leave your thoughts down below. Subscribe, click that notification bell, hit that like button. Last but not least, Adelia Chamberlain. Right now, you want me to come on your Schmodown, the show that you help produce and host now, which I'm so proud of you still for being on camera a lot more. I don't know yet if I can attend it. It's shaping into quite busy days lately. But I wanted to shout you out in this specific video because you are someone who is always fighting the good fight, always fighting for equality. You are a big Marvel fan. You're a big geek, and you're smarter than I've ever been. And you are also you're stronger than I've ever been. I admire you and look up to you, and you have moved me in more ways than you realize. You rock. If there's anyone who's a Captain Marvel at our Patreon, I was pointing to you. It's you.
Oh, I saw the monitor. I thought you were pointing at me.
And on a sincere note once in a while, John.
I love you, Adelia.
That sounds sarcastic.
Adelia, Why didn't you invite me on the show?
Of course.